So I think it was maybe the late 80s. Can't remember the exact year, but I was checking out the surf in Laguna Beach at Thalia Street, trying to decide whether I was going to go spearfishing or surfing, when this wiry, blonde-haired character came up to me and asked me if I was in a band. I said, yeah, I'm in a band. He says, oh, cool. Is it called Soundgarden? Because you look just like the singer. At the time, I had the long, flowing, curly hair, you know. I said, nah, I'm in a different band. And so we started talking, and we went down to the beach, and we hung out all day, actually. And we ended up hanging out all the time and talking music. And one day, he finally invited me up to his house to hear him play the drums. So he sat down, he started playing the drums, and he picked up the sticks, laid into the heaviest groove I'd ever heard. He hit so hard, his arms were swinging, his hair was flying. I mean, to me, he just seemed like, you know, your run-of-the-mill Tommy Lee, kind of like hard-hitting 80s rock drummer. About 2 seconds into it, his drumstick broke, and it came flying across the room, and it hit me right here in the face. And he gets up and jumps over, runs over. He says, oh, I'm so sorry, man, are you all right? I'm like, man, keep playing. I love that groove. And that's how it started. From that point on, he came and checked out a gig of mine. At the time, I was playing ultra progressive music. And we did a gig, he came with me, and he said, man, you rule. You're the best singer, you're the best vocalist, these songs are awesome, but your band sucks. That was Taylor's style, he was very honest. I was like, oh, my band sucks, huh? Because yeah, you need a new band behind you. So that's when he introduced me to John Davison. Of course, at the time, we all called him Wano. So Wano was really, I wasn't really too, I mean, I kept telling Taylor, I'm not interested in being in that kind of a band, you know? He was like, you gotta lose the masterpiece theater. Stop writing symphonies and progressive rock. Keep it simple, let's get a mosh pit going and go take over the world. So I said, you know, I'm not really into it. You know, I had a bad experience with the music industry, but it was Wano really who made me say yes. Wano and I had a real deep musical connection. He was very, you know, he's the singer of Yes now, but even back then he was into very eclectic music, very ethereal music, and we bonded. Taylor was actually kind of the odd man out. He was the rocker, and we were the progressive rockers. And so it was kind of this thing where we formed a band and we were pulling him into a progressive direction, which he readily absorbed. You know, now, you know, his taste evolved to include Rush and Genesis and Yes, all the bands that we were into. You know, he never quite got to the Cocteau Twins and Stravinsky, but he definitely embraced the progressive rock that we wanted to do. And he embraced it hardcore. Kind of came in through the Pink Floyd door. He was always into Pink Floyd, Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, that kind of thing. So there we were in this band. Wano didn't last too long. It wasn't too long before he just got tired of the scene and split to Seattle. But me and Taylor kept developing the sound of the band. We went through a lot of names. We were called Blash Meth, really weird name. And then we were called Real, Cinnamon Wig, because I had red hair. We were called SYLVIA, Dreams of Angels, and then we shortened it to SYLVIA. And SYLVIA was the name that kind of stuck for a while. We went with that one until I changed it to Anyone later. But they were all the same band, and Taylor was in every one of them. I actually kicked him out a couple times, you know, over arguments, but I always let him back in because he was a really great drummer. And he really had this tribal element that I thought was so cool, and that I had been missing really, because I was such a technical Alan Holdsworth, progressive rock guy. I'd played with all the best drummers in town, you know, but Taylor had this different thing, this tribal, visceral energy that was really, truly unique. And we became best friends. And we started living together and just running together. Everything we did was together. We were playing in the band, and we had these big dreams of making it, you know, and getting a deal. Back in those days, record deals, you know, you entered a new tax bracket, you got a new card, a new place to live. So one memory that strikes me that really kind of said a lot was, one day I was homeless. I was living like either on a sailboat or under the pier. And so I would always hang out at bars, Cassidy's in Newport Beach. And I would wait there for Taylor to get off work. He worked at the music house in El Toro. He came in one time, you know, he was already pretty drunk, and I was already hammered. He came in and he goes, "Come here." He grabbed me by the head and he pulled my head up so our foreheads were touching. He's all smelling like vodka. He's like, "Don't move." I'm like, okay. And he puts our arms together on the table. He just put them right next to each other like this. And he takes a cigarette out of his mouth and he drops it right there. It's lit, it's still burning. And he says, "Don't move." And he grabbed my arm and he held it. And there I was, you know, burning a hole in our arms. I don't know if you can see it from there, but to this day, I have a huge hole here and several here where he repeated this little ritual. I never really asked him. We never really talked about it. But I think he was trying to tell me that we were brothers and that we had this musical bond. And I think he was trying to say that, you know, we were joined musically as a rhythm section.